Child, y'all done did all of that to get rid of Miss Wanda so we can get evil Miss Betty. And it don't make no sense. Y'all ready to talk about this episode? Let's talk about it.
Oh yes, bitches and hoes. I'm back.
I drop a player like it's nothing, it ain't working out. Now no debate up for discussion, bitch, I'm walking out. My time is money, I ain't loving, let you toast it out. Flip my weave and walk it out. Look how I just bossed it out. Now come on, baby, why you bugging? We can't talk it out. I keeps it moving, I ain't tripping, lost another spouse. I'm just a boss, it's in my blood, no, I won't scream or shout. Grabbing my keys.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo back with another review, and we are reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville season 6, I believe it is, episode. I forgot, but it'll be right there in the description, child. You know I don't ever be remembering what's going on. Listen, this episode, we finally got something new, so I'm happy about that. But ultimately, it's just like, is it worth, the real hurt feelings that's going on in this? And when I'm talking about that, I'm speaking about Stormy's mother, Miss Betty, and her aunt Lisa. You can tell that that's something real deeply rooted, far beyond the business and far beyond today. But we're going to get into that when we get to it. But let's get into this doggone review, child, because there was a lot going on this episode. So the episode opens up. We're back kind of picking up where we left off. Where Kimmy's saying, look, it ain't even about no money, child. I just want y'all to call it what it is. This is the comeback group. Y'all not about to sit up here and lie in my face and make it seem like, you know what I mean? I'm tripping. Y'all just repackaged our stuff. But Marceau is holding on dear tight to say that this is his idea. And he don't want to call it the comeback group because it was dysfunctional whenever they call it that. They get to arguing back and forth. He even said Mel didn't want to be a part of the comeback group. So that's another reason why he don't want to call it the comeback group, because, it just brings up a lot and a lot of drama. Well, Kimmy was like, well, Marceau, you was the one bringing all the drama, to be completely honest. But Kimmy did turn to ex Mel. She was like, hey girl, like if we do this thing as the comeback group, would you mind being a part of it, or would you mind us calling this the comeback group? And Mel was like, I don't have no issue with that. But then Mel asks when they trying to do this, so what dates they trying to go. So Tisha tells him it's March 8th, and Mel had a perturbed look like, girl, that ain't gonna work. Marceau automatically thinking that, she's doing that on purpose to say she booked. But Mel says she really is booked. She got a show. She doing her music thing or whatever. So then Marceau was like, Maurice was like, well, can you do a virtual? I'm sorry. He was like, can you just, do a little virtual pop in, yang, yang, yang. And Mel don't want to do that. See, this is what I appreciate about Kimmy. Because like Kimmy called her out and was like, Mel, you never wanted to be a part of none of this. Like every time you always been the one who's saying, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And that's the God honest truth. But at the end of the day, it's just like, either you want to be a part of it or you don't. Mel feels like she just want to share little tips in the background, but she don't want her face on it, her name on it, or nothing like that. I hate this 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing with Mel that she's doing with these girls, with these people. I'm sorry, because at the end of the day, Mel does not want to be there. Mel does not even want to be on this show. Let's call a spade a spade. Girl, Mel is giving that last season. That last season Nene was on, and not as bad as Nene, because Nene's head had gotten too huge. But Mel is giving like, I'm here because I have to be here, but I really don't want to be here because I don't really deal with y'all. But, I'm going to say yang, 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 just to, quiet y'all down and make my little money for the scene. But I really don't care to be here for none of this. It's kind of annoying at this point. It's like, do you want to just go off and do your own thing? Like, start a Melody Cherie show or do a spinoff with just you. Like, I think that would be like, ideal. You know what I mean? But I don't think that it will work, to be completely honest. I think Mel doesn't think that it will work. I think Carlos thinks that it wouldn't work, because outside of the millimeters in their fandom, like, what else does Mel have to offer? She's private about literally everything in her life. Like, what could she offer a show by herself? Like, absolutely nothing. But it's just like, I feel like if you're gonna be here, Mel, at least just like act like you want to be here, if it makes sense, because it's giving you really just don't want to be here. But anyways, back to the doggone review. I just had to add that in. But Mel feels like Tisha came in like a bulldozer, talking about she's being close-minded and she ain't paying nobody. So that kind of threw everything off. That is true. Tisha, you can't jump out the window saying, first of all, I ain't paying nobody, and then expect any type of cooperation. That's not how this works. You get more flies with sugar than shit. Okay, so then They get the arguing back and forth again, and Mel gets in her confessional and was like, listen, the vibe and the energy has always been off with the comeback group. That's why I never really wanted to work in it. And she says she personally doesn't want to work or do business with her ex-husband. Perfectly understandable. I'm talking about great. I get it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. But Mel, if that's the actual case, then just go ahead on and just, not do none of it. Don't show up to the meetings. Don't do none of it. Just let that be what that is. Like, I just think it's unfair for you to show up 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's just my opinion. So now Maurice chimes in and was like, look, I think we could make it work. I just wanted to feel like it's our idea because it is. And it is their idea, Marceau. I don't care what you and Tisha say. Y'all trying to make it seem like it's something that it ain't. It is the damn comeback group. That's all it is. You know what I mean? But Maurice asked Martell if he could, hack dealing with the group. He said, yeah. Then he turns around and asks Mel if she could participate. And she said she don't know. She need baby steps. Listen, that's what I'm saying. It's the 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You either here or you not. You either in or you out. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And it's given like you're tired of it. And I don't have an issue with that. I'm actually promoting you just walking away from the comeback group altogether and let them do whatever it is they want to do. But to get down there and then be like, yeah, no, it's fine. You can do the comeback group and da-da-da-da. Well, okay, Mel, are you going to participate? No, I just want to participate in the background. Girl, it's tired. It's tired. Marceau said he's okay with losing Mel. But Tisha was like, you not thinking long term because Maurice feel like he don't want to do it unless Mel is a part of it. Maurice, why is you so attached to Mel doing it? Like, I don't understand. Y'all can do this without Mel. Like, it's not, I don't get it. Y'all can literally do this without Mel. You don't have to have her, Maurice. And if your participation, hinges upon Mel being there, then you're not doing it from the heart either. That's just what it is. Girl, this whole scene was tiring. Let's move on. So now we move to the next scene. Mel and Nell goes down there to the pole dancing class. They want to take a pole dancing class. And I say, go ahead on, because I wish I could take one. Mel lets us know that she kept Nell around because she was like, she's always been loyal to her. Like, she can tell her little bits and pieces about what's going on in her life and trust that, it won't get all over the world. Nell has been nothing but loyal to Mel. So she likes Mel and she kept her around all these years. There's something there. There's a reason why she kept Nell. We got to know that because we know Mel will cut you off in 2.5 seconds. We've seen it. We all know it happens. So for her to keep Nell around, I think that is a genuine relationship. I don't know if they're actually friends outside of the show, but it does seem like a genuine relationship that I guess she feels like is worth having around. So I'm here for that. But after they take the class, Mel sits down with Nell. And they get to dishing basically about what's been going on. You know what I'm saying? Nell asked her how her Valentine's Day was and mentioned that she saw the picture on Instagram. This is the reaction that Mel knew she was going to get when she posted somebody's arm going across her. I just don't understand. If you don't want people in your business, you don't have to post them at all. It's that wanting attention that people don't like to admit that they want. I'm not saying she has to talk about it, but what I'm saying is if you're not going to talk about it and you don't want to talk about it, just leave it out of the way. Like, don't give people any room to even ask you about your business if you don't want them to know. But nevertheless, she says she's going to give Nell a little nugget because, like she said earlier, she trusts Nell. But she basically said she was out of the country. But she's not going to say who it was with. She said, but she was out of the country with her man. She got a new man and they started talking about him. And Mel basically said she really liked him. And she said she didn't realize that when she was in her marriage, she wasn't in a relationship where she was protected. Because, you don't realize what you don't have until you get it. It basically is what it is. I love that Mel fell in love. I love that Mel feel like she's getting something that she never thought she could get. I love that Mel is finding out what true love is, if that's really the case. I love that for Mel. It's time for Mel to move on. She even said that basically, she didn't think when she manifested it that it would even happen, let alone happen this fast. So she was just like, this is a big deal for me. And I'm happy that she found somebody because you know what? It's really good when you find somebody to show you things you didn't even think you needed, like protection. And we all know Martell did not protect her because if he had, he wouldn't have embarrassed her and dragged her all over social media, all on this show. He would have protected her because it's not just about physical protection. It's about mental, emotional, spiritual, all these other protections that Martell failed on. I'm happy for you, Mel. Let's move on. So we move on to the next scene, child. Tisha and Marcel was over there looking at a rental property, another apartment. It looks like a little house, but they say it's an apartment, child, that they are moving into to move out of the temporary house that was supposed to be temporary until they got the big house fixed. Listen, Leonard, listen, Linda. Somebody lying. None of this makes sense. None of it makes sense. Marceau, when y'all went down there to Scott Manor, it still looked like it was the middle of the woods. It still looked like a bear could have jumped out and mauled one of y'all. What the hell is going on with Scott Manor? And why is y'all moving all around the world? How do you move out of a temporary house into another temporary house? None of this makes sense. Somebody lying. Is y'all overdoing what y'all actually have? Like, what's going on? I just have so many questions. But nevertheless, child, Marceau takes this opportunity to sit Tisha down and say that he want to stay at the temporary house so that him and MJ, so that they can go ahead on and get the contracting work finished. Have you lost your rabbit ass mind? So you just going to move your wife and your daughter to another place while you and your son basically chilling at the old house that y'all supposed to be renovating, and you feel like that's going to make you get it done fast? I'm so happy Tisha ain't as slow as I thought she was. Tisha looked at him and said, boy, you done lost your mind. We all family. We all staying together. As she should. I don't care how Marceau try to explain this and try to compare this to how she felt because he's frustrated and she's not listening, how he felt the same way that she felt during the comeback group meeting. We don't want to hear that. You have lost your mind. That girl stood on her square and said, you're not going nowhere. And you're damn sure not taking MJ out of the house to make him, feel like it's okay to be separated from his family. No, we all staying together. Marceau, are you crazy? Like, is something really wrong with you? I think he thinks Tisha is that crazy. And you know what? In the past, she probably has been. But now that she got all these eyes on her, she's waking it up. And I just feel like, boy, bye. We not listening to that. No, we're not doing that. Let's move on. So now Courtney goes down to Marceau's plaza where he's building this new barbershop. I guess they're renting out little places in their plaza. He said they got 4 spaces that they had rented out or needed to get rented out, at the beginning. But now they only have 1 left because they're going to do this upscale barbershop called Beam. I forgot what the acronym was, but it was a cute idea. I thought that was dope. But Stormy is over there to ask him how it is working with family because he's having issues ever since they fired Stormy little cousin, and this was about to blow all of this stuff up. But ever since they fired Stormy little cousin, things has been gone left. I mean, they don't have a good relationship no more. So he's asking Marceau how it is having Jaden working for him. And Marceau was like, well, it's all about trust. You know what I mean? And he was like, but I fire people in a second. He didn't fire a couple of his brothers and even Maurice. He said he had to let Maurice go when he was getting married the first time because he was stressed out and he was trying to bring that negative energy down there to the job, wherever Marceau, had. And he said he had to let him go. And, it is what it is. I personally wouldn't hire my family, personally. That's just me, because that typically happens when you hire your family. When they don't do what they're supposed to do, they expect that you're never supposed to fire them or let them go. And that's just not the real world. That's not how it works. But Marceau said he had to let Maurice go and he'll do it again. He don't give a damn. But, Courtney said he envy him because, Stormy and her little cousin's relationship has been, severed ever since they had to let him go and they sat down with him and told him that he wasn't doing his job. But he said he used to talk to the little boy every day, and we find out he ain't a little boy. He 29. I'm sorry. But he used to talk to Stormy's cousin every day, but now he don't talk to him at all, and he want to work it out. Child, I guess. Let's move on. So now we move to the next scene. Tisha meets up with Mel to see what's going on. She feels like Mel wasn't her normal self. She's normally a boss chick. She wasn't acting like that in the meeting. What's going on? Tisha, why do you care? Why? I mean, what do y'all want from Mel? What do y'all want from Mel? And I think this is feeding into her not wanting to be around y'all because y'all do too much. She ain't the tell all be all. Mel is not the end in the beginning. I don't understand what's the big deal. Do it without Mel. Let her stay in the background if that's what she want to do. Why are you harassing this girl about being active in this doggone so-called comeback group? It just doesn't make sense. But Tisha goes on to ask her how I feel having them kids 1 week on and 1 week off. And Mel basically says, she done got used to it. Now, she get in her confessional and says that she's not going to explain that to Tisha because Tisha just won't get it. Let's move on, girl. Anyway, so then Tisha basically rips the band-aid off and was like, you not being your old self. You was acting different in the meeting. And Mel basically said, girl, look, first of all, I'm not really too keen on all of this. And again, goes back to my original point, Mel, if you're not keen on it, why even show up? I get it. You got to be there to get the check, to be in the scene and all of that. But it's just getting tiring. Every time y'all had this comeback group shit, this has been going on every time for years. And I'm tired of it. And I'm over it. And I'm over them begging you to be there, to be honest. I'm so over it. But basically Mel said, you got to let me take baby steps. Because basically y'all forgot that a few months ago, you was over there calling me a devil in sheep's clothing. Touche. Tisha, what do you want from her? Just because y'all cordial, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just like, I can't even be mad at Mel because Mel don't want to be around there because y'all keep begging for her to be around there. Mel even said, I don't want this thing centered around me. Just let me stay in the background. Like, it's cool. Tisha in front of Mel was like, well, I understand. I get it. It's cool. I ain't going to try to force it. But then in the confessional was hollering, but see, it's about the children, not the children. It's about the doggone people. It's about the community, and I had to put that aside as well. And I really wish Mel could have put that aside. Girl, shut up, you fake Tisha. You are fake as hell. You just leave the girl alone. Let her stay in the background, and let's just move on. I'm tired of y'all begging her. I'm tired of y'all. But anyway, she said she wants Mel to come and basically tell him in person that she don't want to be a part of it because she don't know how she's going to explain this to Maurice. And Mel said, girl, here, give me your number, and I'm going to send you a video. Girl, let's move on. I'm tired of this situation. So now, girl, we gets down there to Stormy, about to have this meeting with her mama, Miss Betty, Aunt Lisa, and her little cousin, Junior. Child, this about to be a hot mess. Miss Betty already jumping out the window saying she don't want to be bothered, and she been told Stormy not to hire no family. Now, although I agree that you should not hire family, I agree that it always turns out bad. I agree that it rarely works out long term. I feel like I don't care how much sage Stormy was spraying around that room. Your mama was inherently negative. I'm going to say negative. I'm trying to choose my words because I respect adults. I mean, not adults, but I respect my elders. You know what I'm saying? But she was already jumping out the window, ready to just be like, girl, I don't care about none of this. I'm negative. You know what I mean? So you could sage all you want, Stormy. It ain't going to work out to the betterment of nothing because your mama don't want it to. That's just the God honest truth. And let me just say this too. Y'all drug Miss Wanda. And let the truth be told, y'all only drug her like that because she was getting in Mel's ass. Y'all didn't give a damn about Miss Wanda being on this show. Y'all didn't like Miss Wanda. Y'all didn't care about Miss Wanda being there. It was only until she started getting in Mel's ass, then y'all started wanting to sign petitions and all of that. Girl, y'all got to be strong. And y'all got to stop with all of this because at the end of the day, Miss Betty is no better. Miss Betty is absolutely not better. Honestly, she might be, listen, Miss Wanda is a gutter. She's a gutter person. But there's something inherently evil about Miss Betty that just don't sit right with my spirit. And if I'm wrong, Lord forgive me, but something just don't sit right in my spirit. But let's get into this doggone meeting, child. So now Aunt Lisa and Junior come sit down. And basically, Stormy feels like, she want to understand why Aunt Lisa is mad. Well, Aunt Lisa said, she feels like it was unprofessional and unprovoked, and she didn't feel like she should have heard that her son was fired from the warehouse from no damn Betty. It should have came from Stormy. Girl, Stormy turns around and asks her, well, would it have been better? No, let me back up. Before Stormy says something, Miss Betty jumps up and said, girl, no, you came by my house or whatever, and I basically was talking about the warehouse stuff and told you, oh, your son got fired. Now, Aunt Lisa feels like, she don't feel like it should have came from Miss Betty. It should have came from Stormy. She basically asked Stormy, Aunt Lisa's whole version of events was different. Aunt Lisa said, girl, she hollered warehouse, and then out of nowhere, your son got fired. And I didn't appreciate that. Aunt Lisa turns and asks, not Betty, Lord have mercy. She turns and asks Stormy, she said, girl, let me ask you a question, because let's just dead this right here on who should have said what. Is this your business or is this Betty's business? Stormy was choking like she didn't even want to say whose business it was. Girl, say what it is. Because see, they got a lot of these toxic mamas out here who get And I'm not saying Miss Betty is toxic, but they have a lot of toxic mothers out here who get real successful children, and they actually use that and act like as if it's their success. And they go around the world and go about their days and about their lives as if, they have just as much say as anybody else. Perfect example of that, Mama Joyce. I don't feel like Mama Joyce tries to control it per se, but Mama Joyce literally gets up there and be like, this, and this. And she knows that Candy's just going to let it ride. That's the same situation that we have with Stormy and her mama. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't think it necessarily matters who told you he was fired. Because as you said out of your own words, he's 29 years old. And see, this is the problem in the Black community. We coddle these grown ass men and treat them like children. How do I know this? My daddy's mama, listen to me good. My daddy is literally 64 this year. And his mama still calls him and deals with him as if he is the child and a baby. And it's sickening. That's why y'all have these situations. Aunt Lisa, you can't speak out both sides of your neck and say on one instance, he's 29 years old, and then turn around and say, I didn't appreciate her talking about my child. Junior is a grown ass man. Okay. Let's just call it what it is. And if he got fired from McDonald's, would you go down there and tell them that you didn't appreciate them not calling you to tell you Junior got fired? Absolutely not. We got to be stronger than this, Black women. We got to be stronger than this. We got to start making these young men. Oh, no, he's 29. He's a grown ass man. We got to start making these men be men and stop letting, mamas got to stop letting or jumping in between that in the process of them being men. That's just what it is. Because it look like Junior gets coddled everywhere. All around the doggone board. Now, Miss Betty's rebuttal is she didn't appreciate the way Junior didn't have her daughters back. He knew that stuff was all messed up around the warehouse, and he wouldn't even come to her and tell her. And when she confronted him about it, he basically said, I'm just an employee. No, you more than an employee. You her cousin. That's Miss Betty's thing. Why is you getting into your daughter's business? What happens at that warehouse ain't got nothing to do with you, Miss Betty. Miss Betty decides to then turn around and go lower than she was already about to go, and say that Stormy had to bail him out of jail and spend $15,000 and he's ungrateful. Why did you say that? Why did us, the public, have to know that? It's no different from Candy doing things for her cousin that work at OLG. You know, the one who got pow. It's no different. When they grow up as siblings, the cousins, whatever that stuff don't matter. And whatever she does for him, she did it because she wanted to. Miss Betty, you didn't have to say nothing. That was not your place to open your mouth about whatever your child spends out of her pocket. Whatever's in her pocketbook is in her pocketbook. That was not your place. And it was low and it was dirty. Now, why would you say that? Because now you done got Aunt Lisa jumped up and she ready to battle and swing because she said, see, she always talking about my child. And for Junior to holler, I went to jail, so what? No, nigga, when I'm paying for you to get out, ain't no so what. What you mean? Run me my 15 bands back then if it's so what. But, baby, Aunt Lisa said she done had enough, that basically Miss Betty is evil, and she said she don't want to sit up there and talk about my child, but she don't want to tell y'all that you went to jail, Stormy, when you was younger, but don't nobody say that, but you want to make it seem like everybody's perfect. Aunt Lisa said she ready to go. She said she ain't got time for this. She ain't even want to talk to Miss Betty because Miss Betty is full of BS. And I said, oh my God. First of all y'all going low. Let me just say this. Second of all, Miss Betty was wrong for bringing up the fact that he went to jail because that had absolutely nothing to do with this conversation. But again, it's parents trying to pass their children's successors off as their own and make it seem like they're the ones, who pulling the purse strings and who making the money. Miss Betty, you ain't doing a damn thing. And you sitting there looking like you don't give a damn. And it's just bothering me. But also, Aunt Lisa, who cares who fired him and why he got fired and why nobody told you? He's 29 years old. He's a grown man. But, baby, Aunt Lisa said, take this mic off me. I'm ready to go. The son had to get in between. Stormy's trying to tell her mama, no, mama, don't do that. Y'all need to talk. And Miss Betty ain't going. Miss Betty said, I don't care about her. She even smirked, and Stormy was like, why would you smirk? Why would you laugh? And she was like, because she tried to bring up the fact that you went to jail. Listen, Stormy got in her confessional and gave us the story about what happened while she went to jail. She said, she didn't say why, but she said she did go to jail when she was 19 for like 3 days, and the judge ended up throwing it out. In the story. Ain't nobody perfect. Like, It happens. People go to jail. She's a successful businesswoman now. Why does that matter? He went to jail. Stormy bailed him out. Why does that matter? Why does it matter to Miss Betty? And I can bet Stormy was embarrassed that, that came out, but she just won't say it because it's giving doggone, what's her name? Candy and Mama Joyce. But anyway, doggone, Aunt Lisa pointed at her and said, "You an evil bitch, and I don't like dealing with you, but you always dealing with my child. You always got something else to say, and you basically sold your family for whatever." And I said, "Ooh, what she sold them for?" And she said, "I hope you feel better that you sold them." And she get the storming out. I said, "Girl, I believe this beef is way deeper than what we know. I believe this beef came from childhood. It's given they had some issues in childhood." I don't think that this is as surface as we think it is. Stormy is in the house trying to tell her mama she need to talk to her sister. That's her sister. And Miss Betty said, "I don't give a damn. Sometimes blood ain't thicker than water." I said, "Oh my God, what is going on? Why are you beefing with your sister?" I wish my sister was here. My sister passed. My sister is deceased, and I wish I could have a relationship with her, but Miss Betty is not going. And that's why I say this has to be something deeper than what we know. This has to be. This cannot just be, oh, right now me and her beefing or whatever. It's got to be something deeper. I just don't buy that. After Aunt Lisa stormed out, Stormy and Junior tries to talk to Miss Betty, and basically Junior was like, "You bringing up everybody else dirty laundry, but is your laundry clean?" Girl, Miss Betty told him she don't want to talk to him because he's a arrogant little prick or something like that, something of the nature. And he told her to basically explain it, but she said she ain't explaining a damn thing. Now Stormy goes outside to get her aunt, and Aunt Lisa basically says, "I'm just tired of her." She was like, "She's just an evil, bitter person, and there is no talking to her." You know what I mean? And honestly, that's what I'm witnessing right here. That's what I'm witnessing, because when Stormy basically told Miss Betty that she need to go talk to her sister, Miss Betty said, "Fuck her." I mean, with all of her insides and outsides, she said that. And on the flip side, Aunt Lisa said you can't talk to the devil. She really believes her sister is the devil. That is insanity to me. Stormy feels like I can't even have a doggone housewarming, because every time we have a housewarming, y'all battling. We got to get to a better space, right? But yeah, Aunt Lisa ain't going. Aunt Lisa said, "No, your mama is evil, girl, and I don't want nothing to do with her." Okay. So now Stormy was like, "Please go back in there and talk to her. Please, Aunt Lisa." And Aunt Lisa decides she don't want to talk. But then when she said, "Well, she in there with your son," dragging your son, for lack of better terms. And then Aunt Lisa jumps up hollering, "Leave my child alone." Aunt Lisa, cut the doggone umbilical cord. Cut it. Cut it right now. It's over. He grown. Cut it. When Aunt Lisa got back in there, she basically said that she's willing to sell her family out. And I'm guessing she meaning for the show, like I mentioned earlier, her saying that she's willing to sell her family out. But she basically says that, you are no longer my sister. And she says she's leaving because she can't stand dealing with her. Now, this got Stormy all upset, because basically Stormy is like an only child with Miss Betty, and her Aunt Lisa and her, cousins or whatever, they've all been like, real close, like siblings growing up, because they're the only people that she knew. I completely understand that, because I have one child. She's an only child, and all her cousins are literally like her siblings. So I understand how Stormy feel like, yeah, that's my first cousin by blood. But ultimately, the experience that I have with them is like, those are my siblings. And my Aunt Lisa was like another mama to me. Like, it's not as cut and dry as people might think it is. Now, when Stormy was going outside to get her aunt, she got in a confessional and basically said that she believed that it's something, deeper than her and Junior. She said she believed it all started when her grandfather was getting ready to pass, and they were trying to figure out who was going to take care of the family and take care of everything. And her mama basically stepped up, and ever since then, it's been going left. I believe it's deeper than that. I believe it's way deeper than that. This looks like an issue that either has been underlying when they were children, or this is something, that's been going on before y'all, even outside of y'all, the children. I really believe that. I don't believe that this started when the daddy died. I think that could have been a catalyst to get it to where we are today. Nevertheless, she's outside trying to talk to Aunt Lisa, and Aunt Lisa basically says, "Look, I'm tired of her. I know that's my sister, but I'm tired of her. Stormy feels like you my second mama. I needed you and her to get on the same page because I love y'all. Y'all like the only family that I have. I'm an only child. You know what I'm saying? Without you and your kids, like y'all are the only family that I have, you know? And basically Aunt Lisa was like, it's hard to talk to her. Like you cannot speak to Betty. Betty is the person who feel like she's never wrong. And I can see that. Betty feels like she's never wrong. And she said, she basically put the blame on Stormy and said, you know, you always asking me to forgive her. Everybody asks me to forgive her. I'm tired of being the one to forgive her. She needs to be checked. And she feels like Stormy just let her say and do whatever she want to say and do. It's giving Candy and Mama Joyce. It is. It is. And I see that because Stormy, I'm with Aunt Lisa. It's certain things you should have stepped in and stood up and been like, no, that's wrong. That's, you know what I mean? I just don't understand this culture of, it's not that you have to be disrespectful. You can respectfully interject and say, hey, no, this is not okay. But that generation of women, not all, but some of them has raised some children, you know, on that you never question me or question my authority to where even as adults, even when they see and witness wrong, they will never say it for the sake of feeling like they're disrespecting their parent. I think that's crazy. That's why it's okay to safely be able to express yourself. You know what I mean? Respectfully be able to express yourself to a parent without feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to get slapped across the mouth because my mama said I can't, you know, I can't question this or I can't question that. So I was on Aunt Lisa's side with that. But she said she's tired of forgiving Miss Betty. And, you know, and I'm tired of her saying that my kids ain't shit. And she said it ain't no coming back from this. She said, if you ask me to go in there talking to your mama again, you're going to be bailing us both out of jail. Listen, Miss Aunt Lisa, who cares what Miss Betty say about your churn? Let's be honest. Who cares? Who is Miss Betty? Why are you giving Miss Betty that much power to where whatever comes out of her mouth literally affects you? Miss Betty, you got to be stopped. You didn't have no intention on being nice or cordial or try to come to a resolve with your sister. You came in there already feeling how you felt. It wasn't no change in your mind. And I think it's unfortunate because you are carrying on a beef that does not have to be. That is your sister. I don't know how many other sisters you have. That ain't my business. But I do feel like, you know, at the end of the day, you only get, you know, the siblings that you have. And you would not want to depart this life or have one of them depart this life and you go back and wish you could have done things better. Well, child, they couldn't even have a doggone conversation without Miss Betty walking out the doggone door, girl. When they put the Jaws sound from Miss Betty walking out the door, girl, I hollered. Because she really was coming out there like a shark in water looking for blood. That's how she looked. Miss Betty, I hope you saw this episode and decided that you were going to make a change. Make that change, Miss Betty, because this is not looking good. Like I said, y'all drug Miss Wanda for Phil. I personally enjoyed Miss Wanda. She was very entertaining, personally. But y'all drug Miss Wanda for Phil. Say Miss Wanda was this, that, and the third. All for y'all to get evil Betty. I hope you're happy. Now, I don't want to hear no more petitions. I don't want to see nothing else. Honestly, this is the best drama we've gotten on this show in a long time because Mel beefing with Martell and the rest of the group, girl, is getting tired, delayed, and through. We tired of it. At least we got something different out of this. So I'm here for this. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all think about the show and Evil Betty. Do y'all think Betty was right? Do y'all think Aunt Lisa was right? Like, what's going on? However you feel, drop down in the comments and let me know. And I'll see y'all hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.